having a good sustainable agriculture would totally offset, especially our economy, in the way of having more job opportunities for people. And for me, it's really about keeping our local kids here on Maui or here in the state, not sending them off to the mainland, because this is our roots. This is where we're from, and that's totally what I believe in. So
vote Christy Gusman, State Senate District 5. Vote Christy Gusman so the island can stay alive.
So I was involved pretty heavily with the ILW back in 2014, and around that time when HCNS closed here on Maui. I know for a fact that we did lose, I believe it was about 1,200 jobs just from that one company. I did not have the opportunity to see the closure of the pineapple companies here in Maui, but I know that industry also, was a huge number of workers. And for me, I really believe that if we do have a strong agricultural presence, which, we have the perfect climate, we have the water resources.
Sure.
A lot of people think that we don't, or they say that we don't, but we really do. Central Maui does have water, and it's just a matter of how to bring that water up to the surface. And that's the problem that they've been having. But just the jobs alone would do really good for our community, especially for people who look for or who need to be in that industry, because they're not office people, they're not doctors and lawyers, and there's people who love agriculture, they love what they do, and right now these people are either still out of work or trying to find other jobs just to make ends meet. And I know a lot of people, several families actually, who have moved to the mainland because of that. So it doesn't serve our people well not to be able to have some type of agriculture in our economy. I think I'm going to start with the obstacles first. And one of them, for sure, is the state of Hawaii holding back on agricultural land leases. And that has been, for a number of years now, myself personally, we've been trying to get a lease for our ranch. And it's been close to 20 years that Maui has had an agricultural land lease through the DLNR. They've done renewals and they've done other things, but they've not actually had an opening for new leases to be issued to farmers and ranchers. So that's definitely a problem. And I think I would start there. The cost of owning a property or leasing a property, we need to work on that. Hawaii has, and especially here in Maui County, we have a lot of state lands that are just right now either fallow or overgrown, or nobody's using them. And what happens is the state leases go back to when the current leasee dies or gives up or whatever it may be. The parcel goes back to the state of Hawaii, and they don't release it out in enough time. And what happens is the property becomes overgrown, fences get destroyed. So by the time they're ready to release that property, it's too much of an expense for a single business owner to start all over again, to fence it again, to clean the property. And a lot of times it just makes it not feasible for us to do, even with assistance, So definitely looking into more grant programs. And another problem with what I see is Maui County also has their OED department, and for whatever reason, they've taken away a lot of the funding for tourism, because right now we have no tourism going on, but they haven't allocated those funds back. So the budget for this year's OED grant session was $50,000 for the whole entire Maui County, including Molokai and Lanai. So how are you supposed to, my question to the mayor's office was, how are you supposed to really give people enough funding to complete a project or to even help somebody start a project with $50,000? That's just not going to happen. I mean, it'll help those who are maybe already established, but that's just not enough to go around for all of Maui County. So definitely looking into getting other sources of funding to help farmers and ranchers. We need to look into decent wages for sure, because agriculture is not a high dollar industry, so to speak. But when you think about it, it should be because there's 1%, the statistics show that 1% of the entire United States farms. So technically, we feed everybody else. And that's a really hard number to swallow when you think about it, and you think about how cheap. I mean, in Hawaii, it's never cheap, but how cheap our food is, our vegetables, fruits and vegetables, and how cheap, produce is, and even our beef products compared to other places. Japan is extremely expensive. So it's just a matter of trying to get your balance of your worker, compensation or wages. And then, of course, in Hawaii, we also, our taxes, we still pay the same taxes as any other business owner. So I think there should definitely be more lenient on people who are agriculture food producers. In a sense to help make it more feasible for them to actually hire people. So like I was telling you, I've been involved in the unions a lot, and I know for a fact that I believe that Maui alone, we currently, prior to COVID, had roughly about 8,000 hotel employees, or maybe a little less. But and then during the time of the sugar plantation, as well as when there was the pineapple companies, that was probably around 5,000 jobs or so, if not more. And so having a good sustainable agriculture would totally offset, especially our economy, in the way of having more job opportunities for people. And, like I said, not everybody's a doctor or a lawyer. Not everybody wants to work in tourism. There's a lot of people who are trained, especially here, our students. We have a great agriculture program at the University of Hawaii, and we need to give these kids an outlet so they can go through the program, graduate, and have somewhere to stay at home and live and work instead of going somewhere else. So, for me, it's really about keeping our local kids here on Maui or here in the state, not sending them off to the mainland, because this is our roots. This is where we're from, and that's totally what I believe in. So